Hello, good morning, and welcome to Sunrise Daily today. I'm Chamberlain.
Well, it's a beautiful Wednesday morning here in Lagos. It's Thursday, actually. It's a beautiful Thursday morning. I'm Kayode Okiki.
When you've just been told that you now have access to paternity leave.
Shots fired, right?
Oh, he does now?
I don't. I'm not a civil servant.
Where's that headed?
Okay. Amaya Makinde, good morning and welcome. Hey, come on. I mean, that's the only time you have some brief amnesia, of what.
I think you're
Civil servants, private servants, everybody?
No, just civil servants. And I think you're actually projecting this point. I'm not a civil servant, for crying out loud.
I don't know if they want to turn back the hands of time because we know that certain rivers are passed under the bridge, but...
Well, there is River State. There's Cross River State.
Oh.
And there are many rivers in
then
Nigeria.
The riverine areas.
There is that song by Jimmy Cliff, Many Rivers to Cross, and on like that. So.
All right. There you go. Okay. All right, so we're going to go ahead and take you through some of the dailies today because, wow, you could almost guess, really, what some of the dailies will highlight, as a matter of fact. So you're going to be seeing Mr. Wale Fatade very soon to take us through some of the dailies. But, at this point in time, I don't know if anything surprises anybody in terms of when certain events happen and how the dailies were reflected. So it just appears as though... but the thing is, like people always talk about, once some of these things occur, and if you look at the headlines over time, that cartoon, they say spot the difference. Can there be any difference,
Absolutely,
really? How much difference will it be over the years?
There's something interesting I've seen on the front page of the Daily Times in recent time. Of course, one of the oldest papers in Nigeria, right? So they'll go back in time and then use, a story of something that is contemporary.
Yeah.
You could almost see that things that happened as far back as the 60s, 70s, 80s, side-by-side things that you see, happening today, almost like they're the same.
Yes.
And that is, it just asks one question. Are we making progress? Yes. How significant?
One that jumps out, or that I readily remember, is something about the health sector.
Yeah.
By the way, resident doctors are still on strike. 2 months now.
Wow.
And I recall then it was something about nurses. That was a flashback, and just right next to that there was something about resident doctor strike, and something you can almost predict the headlines. But let's see what's making the headlines today.
Yeah, so we'll start with Vanguard newspaper today. Mr. Wale Fatade, thank you. Good morning, and thank you for joining us today on the program. So let's start off with Vanguard newspaper. Look at the leads. Yeah, good to see you again today.
Good to see you too.
Yeah, so Vanguard leads with killings in Southeast, rage, despair, trail murder of Akunyili, 8 others by gunmen. And the writer says how Akunyili, husband of late ex-NAFDAC boss, 8 others were killed in Onitsha suburb. Igbo nation under siege with too many killings, so Hannes laments. It's in our hands to make this region better again. Mahi will ensure public safety, as from the police. Fish out killers, Southeast governors charge security agencies. Buhari mourns Dr. Chike Akunyili, says killers must face judgments of, okay, I think it's typo, it says of man. So, something missing there.
Before maybe judgment of God, first judgment of man.
Okay, so judgment of man. Okay, the laws here applying to them. It's political assassination, ascribed to IPOP. Obiano promises 20 million naira reward on Akunyili's killers. So all of this, associated with this lead story. What could have been your impressions? Perhaps on the desk when you got this information filtering through and up till now, Mr. Fatade.
Well, first, condolences to the family of Akunyili. It's so sad. When the news broke early yesterday morning, I was shaking, and the circumstances surrounding it, learning that he and his son were the function, they hugged and then they parted. Yeah. And as a son, I felt that's not the kind of memory one should have of his father for the last moment. So condolences to the family. But I think we must agree now. The Southeast is under siege. But I'm wary of assigning it to IPOB or no IPOB. I mean, we were here during Abacha when people were being killed, and the government then came out that they will fish out the killers, But when the trials of Sergeant Rogers and Mustafa started, we then knew that the government of the day were involved in the killings. And so we got to be careful by ascribing the killing to a particular set of people or organization. That's one. Number two, it's almost jejon now, the kind of rhetorics you hear. The police will investigate high-profile assassinations in Nigeria. They've never been resolved. And that's so sad that an old woman, she's late now, she used to tell us in Yoruba in those days that our constant prayer whenever we go visiting was that our blood will not be used to wash Nigeria's sins away. I think we are shedding too much blood. But the other angle that we should not forget is that the stage is set now for a number of elections not to be tidy, not to be perfect, sincerely. Wow. Because what you are going to have now is there's a siege on the land. Few people will come out. A lot of people might not come out. And I'm just imagining a kind of father or mother whose ward or child now is in a number as a youth corps member. I mean, why would my child do that service now? It's not going to happen. So that stage is set for election to be shrouded in some kind of controversy already. Wow. Very sad.
Well, speaking about elections, there's this headline just above this lead story, which is, of equal importance, might add. 2023, electronic voting, transmission of results, way to go, ascribed to Jonathan. Age-long conversation, isn't it? So, you think they're just some people in some sectors are trying to dribble the rest of the country on this one?
Yeah, even the market women, the traders now, they do pocket money, mobile money, whatever. Everybody is electronic.
And e-money.
E-money.
E-wallet is to take off tomorrow.
I had a young kid saying in the church that his class has a WhatsApp group, and I was like, wow. You have a WhatsApp group? He said, yes. What do you do? He said, we share assignment, we share notes.
How old is this child?
He's just 11 or 12.
Uh-oh.
So if those guys can navigate or manipulate those gadgets, how come the entire country? Everywhere there's technology, everywhere there's network. And our National Assembly, our government has said that we are going 5G. So what else? It's not the kind of conversation we should be asking. We should be having rather. It's like saying pipe-borne water or electricity in the year 2021.
Some have said perhaps there's a network in the National Assembly.
Whoa.
You heard that joke, right?
Oh my God.
Oh dear.
Well, by some demand, they were Mr. and Mrs., but I'll let them read it.
Don't worry.
I was always on the case of this Mr. and Mrs., so you will enjoy, just enjoy that piece. But if you flip to the back page, you get Vanguard Sports there. Chelsea join race for Osimhen. How many people do Chelsea want to sign?
Now I advise that guy to stay in Napoli. Let him stay there for 2 seasons.
He can develop himself.
Yeah. He's on fire, literally, and whatever. So let him stay. He should be careful of moving. He's been through a lot, and a lot of people do not know his story. He's been marooning in Belgium or Greece. He's been on loan several times before he finally got ganked and then moved into this place. So I would advise him to stay in Napoli.
Because that's a top club, Napoli.
Yeah, it is.
And it's
actually on top of the Italian Serie A now.
2 goals in Europa.
And by the way, Osimhen is the highest goal scorer in major European leagues now.
Wow, yeah. That is lovely.
Beating the Lewandowskis or Ronaldos of this world.
Wow. And speaking about that, Messi relieved after scoring for PSG. How far do you see this PSG going? Champions League, perhaps?
Well, Mauricio Pochettino's job is just to keep Mbappe, Neymar, and Messi happy. How he does that, I don't know.
Embarrassment of riches.
How he does that, I don't know. Because it goes beyond football.
That's a good trouble to have.
He's massaging ego and part cancelling, part cracking the whip. Wow. I wish him the best.
He's a babysitter now.
I think so.
Well, let's see what's on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune for you as well. You see, Senate to Buhari declare bandits as terrorists. 30 feared killed in Niger. Kaduna shuts down telecom services, bans motorcycles. It's a page 5 read. And speaking of the ban on motorcycle, just right on top of that, you see 6 months after partial ban, Lagos begins fresh onslaught against okada motorcycles. Of course, 5,200 bikes seized, 60 suspects arrested, 500,000 riders' fate hangs. We're under pressure, rather, to act, that's according to government. Victims speak. Only total ban can end menace, that's according to the task force. And you see government, poverty responsible, human rights activists and lawyers. You know, we've been on this motorcycle conversation for what? Years now, especially in Lagos, of course, across other states as well. But is this a way to go for you, Mr.
Well, there are a lot of underlying issues that we are not addressing with this ban. And I'll tell you, I've been a victim of okada riding. Riders. Not that, I mean, they've bashed my car several times, and I've seen issues. A friend of mine got rescued him. He was knocked down, crossing the road, trying to buy drugs in the pharmacy, and he landed on his cheeks. Fortunately, there was no brain damage. But we are treating the symptoms, not the causative reasons. And I'll tell you why. Our government, the Lagos state government, successive ones under Fashola and Bodenko, at the point you come out, you abandon them. During election period, you relax, because apparently the branch of a motorcycle riders association or whatever, or the NURTW branch, you need them for election. So there's that incestuous relationship between government in Lagos, yes, and people riding okada. That's one. Number two, I am aware of this, that policemen at different checkpoints collect money regularly from okada riders and tricycle riders that they give them daily. And so there is a kind of way that the police have lost the authority. And that's why you see that resistance from people. In Ajao Estate, about 2 weeks now, is about 2 weeks, an assistant chief superintendent of police, 6 months of retirement, who has actually set up his law chambers because he's a trained lawyer, was killed. And so those are the kind of things. When you see a group of people fighting back, there are a lot of reasons. And the last one, the poverty that we have is grinding. And so, by proclamation or oracular pronouncement, okada will not disappear.
Well,
it's tough.
Well, it's really
yeah. So we must attack it holistically. You can't just say, I mean, so okay. Now, if you have made law and you have to enforce it again, the first thing they teach a first-year law student is that law that cannot be enforced, don't make it.
Okay, interesting perspective there, Mr. Fatade. But take a look at this one on top of the nameplate. Oyo seeks to join Rivers' VAT suit against FG. So we've seen Lagos try to join now. Oyo State.
The more the merrier.
Asks appeal courts.
Let's go to the courts. Let's test it. The judiciary must interpret our constitution. I support that. The more the merrier.
So why aren't we seeing some other states perhaps joining the FIRS or the FG? I mean, against those other states. Do you think that's perhaps something we'll see? You
know, some people love white color, some love blue, some love green. So it's a kind of, but this is a little bit, I mean, this is political. So, and then when it's politics, you have different views. So you won't blame people. But I said the more the merrier. Let's test this in Supreme Court.
Well, there's that sad one, Anger Trail's killing of Dora Quayle's husband by gunmen in Anambra. In fact, the DSS had to come out with a statement saying they're not responsible for that killing. I don't remember when last the DSS had to come up with a statement.
Man, that's sad. It's sad. It shows how low we have gone as a country. That the Department of State Security, the people charged with protecting us, will have to be denying. I mean, most likely there are things we don't know yet.
Well, they put out the statement saying they're not involved at all. Of course, that one we started with. FEC approves 14-day paternity leave for civil servants.
All the best to those of you who are still making babies. I mean, my last child is a teenager already, so I've retired.
Well, you know what they say, though.
It's not a new thing again. Some international organizations or agencies are actually doing that. So it's good if our government is adopting
so just catching up, playing.
Yeah, and I hope the channels management will adopt that.
You know what they say, though? You know, some people retire and get back into the game.
Oh, yeah. Especially if you are like Sir Alex, who came back to manage Manchester. But some people retire and they go away. So.
Well, let's leave it there for the Nigerian Tribune this morning.
Well, the Guardian newspaper is next, and this one is also, you know, another one that is rather, I don't even know where to put it. Judges in South Africa, Ghana, earn 3 times higher than Nigerian colleagues. And there's a document from AFPA says Nigeria's judicial officers among least paid globally. Appeal Court President's salary equivalent to that of research fellow at NILDS. Qualified legal practitioners no longer find the bench attractive, says Adigborua. bar must speak out for them, WIFO. And look at this rider. Salary may be poor, allowances make it up. As ascribed to Akinlade, the story continues on page 2. Safatadi, what do you make of this?
Well, you know, when this story broke out, I've had conversation with 2 senior journalists this week. As a matter of fact, one is retired. And he worked with international agencies, UN, AU, ECOWAS before he retired. And we were talking. You know, the other thing is that which professional in South Africa is not any more than a professional in Nigeria? South African journalists earn more than you and I. So, I mean, it's the quality of our lives here, which is abysmally poor. But I think what Adegborowa Big Sam, that's what we call him those days, what he said is important. I know people who have refused invitation to serve on the bench because they can't deal with the pay. And these are people who are doing well in their legal practice. I'm aware. So I think we need to look at that. The quality of people we have serving as judges will not be diminishing because of the paltry pay. And I remember Lee Kuan Yew now, the Singaporean leader. One of the reasons why he said civil servants then should earn very high salary in Singapore was to stand as a bulwark against corruption. And I think we need to look into that. Judges, when they are lowly paid, they are susceptible to corrupt tendencies. That's very serious.
All right, let's take a look at our Daily Trust, the lead story, which you might have seen reflected in some of the other dailies here this morning. Senate to Buhari declare bandits as terrorists. Bomb all their locations. Decision long overdue. Ex-DIG policeman missing as bandits abduct 27 in Sokoto community. Well, that we already heard before. So we'll move on to this next one. EU, UK, FBI, others support EFCC strategic plan. But you know, speaking about this quest to get the nation back on track, a fight against corruption, do you feel that we so far have institutionalized this enough such that if the agency even does little, everyone knows that, whoa, wait a minute, we need to be in line? How impactful would you say all of what we're doing, I think since inception of the commission? There
have been scholarly articles, research paper published on the efficiency or the kind of, or whether EFCC have been successful. And I can tell us, with the ones I've read, I mean, all of us can feel it. EFCC has not been what it was conceived to be. And I think that should be worrisome to all of us. Because everywhere in the world, globally, you see different countries have been specialized agencies fighting corruption. As of today, I still do not know why we have to separate EFCC and ICPC. Yeah, because corruption...
Some say it should be a department of the police.
Well, based on what we see, we know that we need something national. United States, for instance, has the FBI, apart from the Department of Justice or each state that have their own judicial apparatus. So we need something national. And then remember there's this international treaty on illicit money or illicit cash flow that we are signatories to. We are signatory to. So that actually empower us or compel us to have an agency like EFCC. But I think the problem we have, we should look at the way and manner of the appointment of the EFCC head. We've seen successive governments being tied to the EFCC chair, being tied to the apron string of successive presidents. And he who pays the piper dictates the tune. We can't do anything about that. So we might have to look at the way and manner that we select the head. When the head of a fish is rotting, there's nothing we can do. And then the other thing is, how many cases has the EFCC prosecuted successfully all this while? Look at the drama play out in the one with the former governor now, that they are still asking for retrial. A judge threw it out yesterday. It's in the papers today. So the EFCC, for me, they can do more than they are doing now.
All right.
Well, the EFCC says they will appeal that one, as you would expect. But let's turn our attention to Nigerian News Direct and see what's on the front page. You see, acreage, marginal fields award controversies. Buhari removes Awolu, nominates Farouk Ahmed on NPRA board. Experts hail Farouk Ahmed, ex-MD PPMC, ex-CS PPPRA. It's a page 4 read, but this one might interest you, Mr. Fatadi. Lekki Tollgate, military never fired live high-velocity projectiles at NSAS protesters. That's according to a forensic expert. I understand it's a UK forensic expert. and gave a time frame saying that within the period the military was there, the bullets were not fired, but afterwards it was fired by unknown persons.
So until we find out unknown person, I hold the right to my belief. And by the way, kudos to your organization. Channels have stayed on that, the panel sitting. God bless you for that.
Well, it's the least we can do, right? A couple of other stories you find there on the front page. NIN-SIM integration. NCC sensitizes telecom consumers on October 31st deadline. I wonder how many times you've heard about this deadline.
For what?
Well, Mr. Fatade, it's not me. It's
what's the deadline again? I'm asking, what's the deadline for?
Nigerian News Direct. Well, I understand that frustration, really.
Before October 31st.
Yes.
NIN-SIM registration.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Okay, well, I get you. We're trying to clarify.
I wanted to know another deadline again. Maybe they will bow us again. I mean, we're always having deadlines upon deadlines.
Well, that's
like school assignments deadlines.
But do you think, I mean, this, by the time everybody gets this, NIN registration, or at least if 70% of the populace gets this NIN card, what stops us from saying, look, at the end of the day, if all our data is on this, why can't we use it to vote? Why not?
Well, there are several databases that we have already now. That we have the BVN one, we have the NIN, we have the international passport, we have the birth certificate, we have the what else? I'm saying, what
are resources going into?
What will it take us here to harmonize all these ones? So it's up to all of us. But then the other thing that should be of concern to us, and I've seen this, non-Nigerians who actually have NINs.
Whoa.
Yeah. I've seen that, even in Lagos.
Well, yeah, a member of the National Assembly was quoted as saying that, you have people crossing the border to get...
And then they just come and get it.
To get some of this.
So what's the point of harassing everybody to go get it if non-Nigerians can get it?
Yeah.
Well, maybe just as we always say...
Because if I go to... all of us that register for NIN,
yeah.
What are the documents they ask you?
Exactly.
Or your face and your fingerprints.
That's all.
That's not enough.
And birth certificate if you are younger. So.
That's not enough.
Well, the leadership newspaper has this one, and it's not very pleasant. Hours after Senator's damning verdict, bandits kill 30 in Niger. That story is on page 4. Lawmakers want them branded terrorists, say military should bomb them wherever they are. Anxiety grips Kaduna residents as government shuts down telecom networks today. Agulu community mourns as gunmen kill Dr. Akonyele. I don't know which one of these you want to begin with, Mr. Fatade.
Well, we are becoming denatured, as it were, to deaths in Nigeria. Because every day our stories read like these. And especially for us as journalists, I'm sure some of us are already suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. But I think it's so bad. And senators, when I watched it yesterday, it seems laughable to me that, you don't need any legislation to declare me a man. I'm already a man, the way I was made. So do you need any legislative pronouncement before we know these guys are terrorists? And I think that's not what we should be discussing about yesterday. It's serious, the way we are going. And I'm so worried that we won't get to DRC Congo, whereby different parts of a country are under different militia groups' control. But the capital remains under the central government. I hope we will not get there.
Yeah, that's what we all just hope. But we all need to do what we have to do and ensure that we stave off all of that. Well, that is it today on taking a look at some of the dailies this morning. Mr. Wale Fatade, thank you very much indeed for joining us today.
You're welcome.
All right, we're back in a moment. Please stay with us.